There's this old saying that we always think that the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Like, is the grass greener on the other side of the fence or not? Now, it depends. It may not always be as green as you think when you jump ship from one organization to another, from one relationship to another, from one business to another, from one country to another. And let me start from that last one. A lot of people these days, they tend to say, okay, I want to move from Nigeria to Canada, from Nigeria to the UK, from Ghana to Russia, and so forth. These are great moves. And generally speaking, you probably are going to have a better life, infrastructure, power supply, water supply. But you're also going to deal with the problems that people have to deal with when they change. So you basically have solved one set of problems, and you will have to deal with another set of problems, and so forth. Maybe there could be quite a few problems that you still have to solve because you've moved from a less comfortable scenario to a perceived more comfortable scenario. And the reason I'm saying is, I'm not saying this particularly with respect to moving to another country. I'm saying this specifically with respect to the fact that for any change we make in our lives, there is always a trade-off. There is always a trade-off in terms of you are basically leaving one set of problems to another, and you have to deal with that. If you're moving from one organization to another, you may have maybe gotten a higher pay with greater politics in the other organization. You may have gotten less politics with less job satisfaction in the other organization, and so forth. So every move you make, everywhere you go, there is a problem you have to deal with. And part of the cell of our way of thinking, of our strategic way of thinking, is to say, wherever you are, in whatever situation you are, can you find a way to navigate based on the strengths you have, based on your external realities, right? Because if you cannot find a way to navigate, then you will be too desperate about changing the scenario. And when you're too desperate about changing the scenario, what happens is that you rush into another pit, and you now have to deal with that. And over time, by the time you do 1, 2, 3, what happens is that you now become despondent, you now become cynical, you now have an attitude that will not work anywhere, right? And I'll give you an example. Was it in 2013 thereabout? A lot of people were leaving my organization. That at that time I was working for 𝐴-Process. It's common to feel that, why am I still here? I have to do something to move. And it's true. You must grow. You must go from one level to another. But I want to let you know that it's very important for you to develop the capacity to navigate difficult scenarios. Develop that capacity, because wherever you go, you will find extremely difficult scenarios that don't look like that from the outside. They don't look, when you look from the outside, when you look from the outside of the country, the outside of the relationship, the outside of the organization, you will not notice that there are such extremely difficult scenarios, right? You will not, you probably have not even encountered that kind of difficulty. The kind of difficulty you're familiar with is, oh, somebody's oppressing me, somebody's making my life difficult, I'm not earning enough money, there's heat in this country, and so forth. There will be a different set of difficult situations in the next phase. There will be. And sometimes you even look at somebody who is very rich. And I used to tell people that, you know, every social class, you have your level of problems. So maybe you don't have a lot of money now, and you say to yourself, these rich people, they are really enjoying. But when you get to that level of wealth, you also realize that water rises to meet its level, so to speak, or the available capacity. So you see that you will have your own set of problems in the new scenario that you come into. So I want to assure you that don't be in too much of a hurry to change. Sometimes the change that really needs to happen is the change within us. What really needs to change is us. What really needs to change is our approach to navigating situations that are complex, that are hard. And I think it was ALX that says, do hard things, right? So I want to encourage you to just look at, rather than give in to that pressure, embrace it as an opportunity to shape yourself. It doesn't mean that you make no move. It just means that you make wise moves. Learn from others who have moved and make wise moves. When there's a new craze, a new trend, AI, data analytics, cybersecurity, etc., people just rush into that and say, I know that if I get into this area, I'm going to get a good opportunity, which is fine. But I also wanted to mention that sometimes what happens generally is that as people rush into that field, whether it is a business area or a profession or a new fad, the competition heightens. So you now have more people to compete with. The value of that offer drops, and what everybody was chasing in that space becomes mute, like my friend used to say. So I want to encourage you that this tendency of people to just rush into an area, you can rush into an area and get a lot of fans on it on social media because that is the reigning area. But you also discover that the value has dropped because the information is so ubiquitous that it's no longer you don't have competitive advantage anymore simply because you're in that area. So what you want to do is to play in the area of your greatest strength. What you want to do is to stay on course, and probably you want to borrow here and there from the events that are happening in those other areas that are more popular, but you want to be in the area of your greatest strength. That's what strategy is really about, being positioned as a go-to person. And it doesn't last forever. It lasts for a period. After a while, you need to switch because people are coming there. So you have to play to your strengths, and you have to play in an area that helps you stand out. That is what it is, an area that helps you stand out. And sometimes standing out means reduced competition, areas where the competition is not as high, but the value is high. And you need to understand what value means. Value may not mean a large following on social media. Value may not mean a lot of money, sincerely speaking. Value may not mean, and you now have to know how to pivot value. How do you translate the value acquired for the last 3 to 5 years in one area to another area and build on it? It's beautiful, and that's some of the things we try to discuss on the Strategy Club. The more attention you pay, the better you will get the point. The more attention you pay, the better you will get the point. Lastly, I'd like to tell you that I am on the brink of releasing my next book, Career Growth Strategies in Information Technology. And the book is basically my story with a lot of insights about how to navigate the world, the corporate world, as an information technologist from Africa. Very niched book. And it's about 230 pages long, so it's big, and it's going to be on Amazon probably in August. So I wanted to keep in touch, and it's another implementation or another application of strategic thinking in the context of career. So keep in touch, and I hope you will find it something that you want to buy. So I'm going to post this one on Facebook. I started these weekly sessions, and the purpose of it is not for me to rant at you. The purpose is for me to hear from you, for us to have a conversation, for us to talk about what you're experiencing in a closed space, in a safe space, and then I share my input from my experience, from my expertise, and hopefully it will be of